Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is Power Hour. I have my colleague Joelle Jobson. She's on audio. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And Power Hour is our show that we do weekly Wednesdays at 11 Central, most Wednesdays. And we have been doing this for over 6 years, and we cover it was started off as just SharePoint Power Hour, and it has morphed into Office 365, SharePoint, Teams, Power Apps, Power Automate, all those good things. The general theme is that it is geared towards people who are not hardcore programmers or server admins. It's kind of all the between, business users, power users, things that you can do fairly easily without any kind of code or super technical knowledge in all these products. So today, and I send out a newsletter the day before for you all to vote for the topic. So today's topic you all voted for is Power Automate triggers that are related to Teams, to Microsoft Teams. So Teams triggers in flows. And the fun thing about having this be a live show is that we have a chat going on. We use Slack for our chat. And it is iwmentor.slack.com. And wherever you're watching this video, there is a link underneath the video to go to join the chat and to fill out the form to join the chat for the first time, because I have to manually add everyone. So, hello everyone, and come on, join the chat and ask questions and have join into our fun conversation. Hey everybody, we've got a lot of great regulars in here. I recognize all these names every week. It's a lot of fun. So it's good to see you all. Roll call, everybody say hello. Valerie, Stewart, Larry, Marie, Steve, just everybody's here. All right. Okay, so I'll go ahead and we're going to dive right in. So Joelle and I were talking about this morning. I said, Joelle, they voted on Teams triggers, but there are only 3 Teams triggers. So this is supposed to be Power Hour. It's supposed to be a whole hour. What in the world am I going to talk about 3 Teams triggers? So we came up with some ideas. Thanks, Joelle, for spur of the moment thinking of stuff. And I did even test a couple of things since we talked earlier.
Awesome.
So let's I'll dive right in and share my screen. I feel like I'm losing my voice. All right. Here we go. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll just save kind of this thing that I was playing around with before we got started. And I'll go create a brand new flow and just kind of show you just what this show's about today. I go to create a new flow, and I go to Microsoft Teams. And these are my triggers. So this is the very specific thing that we're talking about today in Power Hour is the Teams triggers in when you're creating a flow. So we have when a new channel message is added. They all say preview next to them, by the way, which makes me think that maybe there will be improvements that'll come along, and then maybe eventually they won't be in preview anymore. And then we have when I'm mentioned in a channel message, that's very specific to me. And then I have when a new team member is added. So just first, I'm going to talk about this middle one, because this one seems like it would be the most restrictive when I am mentioned in a channel message. So this one is really going to be me, whoever I'm running the workflow as, whoever the trigger is running as, that is me. So that seems like that would be a very personal one. So to me, I don't know if I'm necessarily even going to go deep into that one, because it's very specific. You have to pick a team and you have to pick a specific channel. So you can't just say, I want to be notified anytime anyone mentions me anywhere in Teams. You have to go pick a specific team and a specific channel that you want to be notified when you're mentioned in, when someone does an @ and mentions your name. So that's the cases for when this would be useful seem to be much narrower than the other two. Now, you all could ponder this and let me know if you think about anything that you think might be super useful, but basically each individual would have to have their own flow because it'd be running based on me, whoever the user is. So for this, you can't just create a generic one and have it run as everybody. It's just me. And me means this name here, whoever that action is running as. All right, so I'm going to delete that one. So I'm going to move on to the other ones. Teams. Now, when a new team member is added, sounds interesting. New team member, so you can pick any team in here and you can send them a welcome. Now, there are little out-of-the-box welcome emails that will arrive when just the generic Microsoft one, when you are added to an Office 365 group or a team, it says welcome to the team and it has a few just generic links in there. Well, this gives you the ability to create a more customized functionality for something to happen when someone gets added. So one thing obviously that you could do would be to have it send an email to that person welcoming them. You could have it send an email to someone else letting them know that a new person got added. You could have it, you have hundreds of connectors here in Flow. You could have it do anything. You could have it go create an item in a table in a SQL database or post something on Facebook. So there are, again, literally hundreds of things you could do. But one interesting thing that I thought of was around this concept of the organization-wide team. So I have an organization-wide team called All Contoso. So All Contoso is everybody in the company. So this means that when a new team member is added, that is basically when a new person is added in your directory. That could be the trigger. We had a whole other Power Hour a few months ago about on HR onboarding, where I had a flow that I created that went through a bunch of steps, like creating an item in a SharePoint list and creating a welcome email and assigning different things to people for new employees. But the trigger that I had was the only way that I just out of the box way, without getting into PowerShell or any kind of programming, was that I had a notification coming from the Office 365 reports and the audit log letting me know when there was a new user, and I had that email notification as the trigger for all this new HR onboarding stuff happening. Well, look at this. So when a new team member is added, I have an organization-wide team, that is going to be an easier way to know when you have new people in your company, right? And it actually works. I tested it. So what you can do is you could have this trigger be your HR onboarding. Now, we've done lots of other Power Hours about possible things for HR onboarding. I feel like we just did one recently, just in the last month or so, about that was in Planner. I had when there's a new person joining your company, I had all these things getting created in Planner, and I had that one again a few months ago about it creating an item in a SharePoint list and things like that. So let me show you what an org-wide team is. I go into admin. Well, I don't really have to go into admin. Let me just show you. Joelle and I were kind of digging through admin to look at a couple of things. But if you are a Teams admin, apparently, we couldn't find a setting for this to say who is allowed to do this. But we couldn't find a setting that said, who's allowed to create an org-wide team, because apparently everyone isn't. But if you are a Teams admin, you can create an org-wide team. That's what we determined, right, Joelle? If someone has a role of Are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
I was, but
It's very faint. Okay, yeah. So Joelle couldn't see org-wide as an option. And then when I made her an admin, next time she went in here to create a new team, she could see org-wide. So org-wide is a type of team that you create. And when you create this, it's it's not a team that people have to join. It's just everybody is automatically in the team. So that means that anyone who is a new employee is automatically in the team. So my org-wide team is called All Contoso. So see All Contoso, and it's got, let's go look at manage my team. I've got who the owners are, and then my company is very small, so I don't have that many members, but it adds people to this list of members when they're a new employee. So here's what I did. I tested this out. I created a flow. So I created a flow called New All Contoso Member. And I said, when a new team member is added to All Contoso, I'm glad. Thanks, Valerie. I like you. I'm glad you like that idea. Then, now what it's going to give me is, I don't have their email address yet. So I do need to know their email address if I'm going to send them an email. So I went ahead and did this get user profile. So there's an Office 365 users action called get user profile, and you just need to tell it which user's profile you need. And then because all this action provides me up here is the unique ID of the user that got added. And so I'm going to go get their profile, and then in this one, this is again a demo tenant, so the only shared mailbox I have is one called IT department. So you might not want to send an email to your new employee as you, the person creating the flow. That would be the send an email action, would just send it as you. You want to probably send it from a shared mailbox. Now, in order to send one from a shared mailbox, you have to have send as rights. So whoever this flow is running as does have to have send as rights on that shared mailbox. So IT department is my shared mailbox, and then I'm sending it to that mail field from whatever person just got created. All right, and I just did welcome to Contoso. This is a test. But another cool thing that you also have with that get user profile is you have all the information from their profile. So you could say welcome to the blank department. And then you could even, I have an idea. You can even get their manager. So the manager's not going to be in here when you get their profile, but I can say get their manager. Now, I just created this user a few minutes ago, and I did not give them a manager, so you'd also have to accommodate for them not having a manager. So I'm going to get the user profile of this, just the same person. I get the user profile and then get the manager. And then if they don't have a manager, let's see, compose. No manager. Anyway, if they don't have a manager, I can have it go down a completely different path. But if they do have a manager, I can have it send an email, and I can actually CC the manager if I want to. Probably what I'd want to do if they don't have a manager is have it CC just somebody else, because if you're CCing somebody in a flow, you have to have there has to be a value there, that it can't be empty. So I'm just going to say I want to CC the manager. I'm not sure how far down that rabbit hole I want to go right this second, but I did run this and it worked. So let me just save that, and I'll just show you the one that already ran. Okay, so here's what I did. I went into Office 365, went into users, and did a test. Now I have a dog named Rogue. And these are all my little fake users here. So I just added Rogue Rogers to Office 365. So, and I did this ahead of time because I didn't know how long it would take for, when you add a new user, it takes like 15 minutes for it to propagate across everything, right? So Rogue is now, my dog now has an Office 365 account. So I added Rogue Rogers and I just waited to see what would happen. And then I went to my flow and look at that, it ran. So when a team member is added, and then it just gives me this GUID of the team member, and then I use that GUID to go get their profile, and then it sent Rogue a profile from the IT department saying, "Welcome to Contoso." Rogue Buck Rogers. Her middle name is actually Louise. So anyway, so I just wanted to see if it would run and see how long it would kind of take for that to happen. But that is a good way to do onboarding. Now, someone was asking in the chat, Joelle, you might have to let me know what other questions there were, but someone was asking in the chat if you could take an existing team and turn it into an org-wide team. I don't think you can, but we can look. We can go look in. I'll go to Teams Admin. And Teams Admin is also, it's another one that that's been in the voting for Power Hour topics for many, many times. I've had Teams Admin in there to see if you all wanted to cover that, and it was never voted on. So let's just go look at our All Contoso team. Dun-dun-dun. Come on, Teams Admin. Alrighty. So Joelle, I can't hear you. Are you talking? Anybody else ask anything?
Yeah, but I think we're just answering them. So I'll let you know if there's
Oh,
anything.
okay. All right. So here is All Contoso. That's the one that, so when I click on it, it doesn't show right here whether it's a org-wide team.
Yeah, I was saying it says public, just like the rest of them.
Yeah, it says public, but the reason I know just off the top of my head is that this was the description when I created it. Check here for organization announcements and important info. So it's again, maybe it's a new enough feature that it doesn't have information about whether it was created as, yeah, it's just got some settings in here. It doesn't have anything about whether it's an org-wide. So if I go to another team, it's not going to have a button that lets me switch it to org-wide. I'm pretty sure, at least right now, that's not going to be something that you can just go change. Let me just double check really quick. Yeah, it's just got privacy, private and public. This one's public. But yeah, no, it doesn't have anything about whether I can switch it to be org-wide. I'm pretty sure you just have to create it as org-wide. All right, yeah, so that's that about org-wide
there's
teams.
A script for it.
What was that?
I said I bet there's PowerShell for it, but
oh yeah, maybe.
But not to the UI.
Okay, so that's what I did. So I created Rogue Rogers, and then Rogue Rogers, it triggered the flow. So then think about whatever, this would just be a good way to, of course, this in the simplest form of this, you could just have it send them an email when they get added to whatever team it is, welcoming them to the team and letting them know more specifically what is expected of them in that team, what is the team used for, and things like that, that might not be in the out-of-the-box Microsoft welcome email that they get. But I think a good little sort of hack for this one is to have it, the org-wide team, be the trigger. That way, for every new user in your company, you could have a flow that sends them an email, lets them know about orientation, goes and creates an item in some database where you're tracking people going to orientation, or registers for them for something, tells people anyway. So it's just a lot of things that you could possibly do with having a new user. All right, so all right, so I'm going to go ahead and there's another action that go here, close some of this stuff. Just for fun, just to finish kind of what I was showing you with this, if you wanted to have it, if they don't have a manager and you don't want it to just error out and stop, here's what I would do. I'll just kind of throw this in here. I'll just do a variable. I have to not set a variable. I have to initialize a variable. I have time. Initialize a variable for var manager email. And then if they don't, so let me go to this, I'll make this error out, or make this only run if it errors. So if get manager has failed, it's going to go down this path. And if get manager has failed, it's going to set a variable. So if there's no manager, I'm just going to set this variable to have, I could have someone else's email address, but I could just have the email address of that user, just so it puts their same name on the to and the CC. And then I could, I just get rid of this compose. But if I get rid of compose, I have to redo this. I don't have to redo the run after. So you used to have to redo that if you got rid of the top one. It looks like it's smart now. It figured it out. Okay, so then I want to do, I could just, let's see if I can copy and paste this. All right, yeah. So if it errors out, I'm setting myself as the manager. If it doesn't error out, then I'll put the manager email. Let me make sure I put the right, oh, look, see, that wasn't supposed to be the manager email. All these orange ones look the same. So there we go. User profile email if they don't have a manager. Manager email if they do. And then this thing needs to go sort of in the middle. So when you have a problem like dragging something out of a branch into the middle, I'll usually just go add just a compose step just in here as a dummy so I can drag this down here. There. Now I'm sending it to that variable. So whatever path it goes down, it sets the variable, sending it to the user, and I'm CCing the variable. I was trying to go too fast. All right. Make sense? So let's go. I'll just re-trigger it real quick and see what it does. Because Rogue the dog does not have a manager. Okay. Look at that. Oh, so let me show you what let me show you what I did wrong. Okay, so this isn't, this is even in my class. I just, didn't do it myself. I didn't set the configure run after. I don't want both of these to be successful. Obviously, it's not, I set it to not go down both paths at the same time. I want it to go down. Let me click done. I want it to go down and go to this last step. See, I had to do a succeeded and skipped on both of these. So whether this one succeeds or is skipped, I want it to go down here, or whether this one succeeds or is skipped, I want it to go down here. But either way, whichever path it goes down, whichever one is succeeded or skipped, I want it to do this email no matter what. So that's why that last one didn't run. And go. All right, so there is, so Rogue does not have a manager. So it just put rogue in the to and the CC, and it successfully sent the email. You just can't have a variable in the CC and have it not have a value in it. So that's why I just had to put a different email address in that CC. All right. They're all in the chat talking about dogs and cats having middle names and managers and things. All right, now here's another fun one. We'll go back to Flow. Okay, so here's another option. So here's what I did. I said, and Joelle came up with this awesome idea. You have a help desk, and when a new channel message is added in your help desk channel, you can basically ask them more questions about their help desk item and ask them, give them a choice and just give them a response, create an item in your help desk system. So I started doing this. I didn't want to go too far. I wanted to be able to build more of it live. So what I've done so far is I created a team and called it help desk right here. And I created it as a team, which of course created a SharePoint site. So here's my help desk. And then here is my help desk down here. And I made it a public, it says org up here. It means channel content is accessible to everyone in the organization because I made it a public team. I didn't make it an org-wide team. Could have done either thing. So this is a help desk team. And then when a new message is added in the general channel, let's just say we're telling our users to go here and if they have a help desk question, if they want to open a ticket, they can just go to the help desk channel and just type whatever their question is. So I'm basically making use of that and kind of doing this thing with a bot, with the Flow bot, and the Flow bot is going to ask them questions. So that's kind of fun, right? So what I'm going to do is, as soon as someone asks a question, Joelle, can you go? You can get to that one, right? In Wonder Laura?
Which one?
Can you, it's the help desk team in Wonder Laura, and just go type a question in the general channel, like you have a computer problem or something?
Yeah, let me go check it out and see if
So while I'm describing the Flow and what it does, I'll let Joelle go in here, and she's going to go in my little test tenant and type her question, and we'll just, after I show you what it does so far, then we'll see if it's working, because I have not tested it yet. I just created it. And you all feel free to, think of other things as I'm doing this, other ideas, and we can brainstorm together fun little ideas about what you could do with these Teams triggers that we're talking about, right? Okay, so when a new message is added, it's going to acknowledge and tell them that they've written a message. It's going to send them a personal message. So instead of cluttering up the main general channel in the help desk, I decided to use these to a user actions, post a message as the Flowbot to a user. So it's going to send them an individual message to the person who posted, as opposed to just having things all appear in the channel, and it could be messy and then everybody's seeing each other's stuff. So, right? It's up to you. But I just did post a message as the Flowbot to a user. So I give it a headline. I just typed help desk ticket. Recipient is going to be basically whoever triggered it. So that's the whoever posted the message. That's going to be Joelle. Then I see you're asking about, and then I've got, this is all the data that I have about whatever they just posted. See, I have tons of data about whatever message. So when a new message channel is added, I have the body content type, date. I have e-tag, which is like a version, username, user ID, just message importance, just all kinds of stuff about that message. So I say, I see you're asking about, and then I just put the message body. And then I immediately say, what is the category of your request? And the recipient, again, is that same user. And the headline is going to say help category. So then I created a SharePoint list. So I created a SharePoint list called help desk tickets. And I've got It's pretty basic. It's got a subject, it's got a category of software, hardware, or login, and it's got a description, product lookup if they're asking about a certain product and whether it's high priority or not. And then later on, I'm going to be assigning this to somebody. And then it's also got a status and even attachments. So what I'm going to do is what I did was I typed the 3 options, software, hardware, login. I just typed those as in here as what the 3 choices are. So it's going to prompt them and ask them which one of these they'd like to pick. And then it's going to create an item in my help desk system. Now I haven't tested this, so I don't know if the selected option, if whatever value they click, this data is going to match what it's expecting here. I would hope it would, but again, I'm not sure yet. So it's going to say in my help desk ticket, I'm just going to say the title of the help desk item is going to be the person's name and the date, just to have something nice and generic in the title. And then the description is going to be whatever they typed in the content of their first message. It's going to have the category they picked, and then we can work on some other stuff, right? Any questions? Oh, Valerie says I can use this for our record of work system. Oh, I'd like to hear more about that. That's interesting.
There was a question earlier from your other flow where they were just getting an error, a specified folder not found when they tried to send an email from a shared mailbox. Just didn't know if you knew off the top of your head what that could be.
I usually get that when the send as permissions aren't correct, and it's usually something that wasn't done in Exchange, or if you added them as a send as in Exchange and it hasn't finished propagating across. Yeah, that sounds more like it's like the permissions on the mailbox. I have seen that though, and yeah. Maybe at the end, if we have extra time, we can go dig into where that setting is for shared mailboxes. All right. So you ran it, right? Let's see.
Oh yeah, I put 2 comments in there.
Okay.
2 messages.
Oh, it's still running. Oh, interesting. So did it ask you the question?
Let me see. Yes.
And so you already did click an option?
Not yet. I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and click an option and let's see.
I just got it.
Oh, okay. So
right
it took a minute
that.
for it to post the message to you. And I can go test it too, so I'll just do one real quick too. Okay, so Joelle typed, my new team member Rogue Rogers needs access to Sway. Billy Bob needs a laptop. And I can say my login isn't working. Okay, so these are Joelle's messages to the help desk, and then mine. And then, so what it's supposed to do is send me a chat. So when the flow runs, that little flow bot is going to send me a personal chat. So it's like Joelle said, it's going to take a minute. Let's go look.
Yeah, when I try to click it, I'm getting an unable to reach at. Please try again.
Oh, okay.
I click the.
I'll go ahead and replicate that then.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get it to. Come on, Flo, send my message. Oh, it's not even showing mine run yet. I guess it takes a minute just to trigger it. Oh, yeah, Zach, you're right about Exchange issues recently. Or maybe those are just Outlook issues we've been having recently. But I had some issues with Outlook, and it was driving me nuts. I kept uninstalling and reinstalling it. Now it just works. It's weird. Okay, let's see if it posted the choice of options, but then you clicked on an option and it didn't do anything.
It just said unable to reach app. Please try again. When I tried to I clicked an option and hit submit.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I wonder if you don't have access to that SharePoint list, but you do, right? Can you go straight to that SharePoint list? I'm pretty sure.
Where was that list at?
That's in that help desk site, just in
Oh, okay.
the
I'll
same
go to the SharePoint site.
one. Yeah, because it's a public group and you're a member of it.
I'm in
So.
the team, yeah.
Steve said live demos rule. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Stuart says, does anyone know any action triggers return in emails? Outlook category. Ooh, you'd have to look at the raw data. When you use what I'd use to try and figure that out, Stuart, is create a flow that's triggered when an email arrives, and then just crack it open when it runs and look at like all this little raw data about it and see if it's got a category. See, I could have sworn we had already done a power hour with the post a choice of options as the flow bot, and
Yeah, I think so.
we'd already covered that. So I was just like, oh, well, that's going to work because we've already tested it. So how hard could that be, right? Okay, I did get my message from Flo. So here's mine. It says, I see you're asking about my login isn't working. What is the category of your request? I'll click login. Enter comments. It wants me, did it ask you for comments?
Yeah.
Okay. This is stuff. I didn't even tell it to ask for comments. That's weird. Unable to reach app. Okay. Yep, I got the same error. All right, let's troubleshoot. That's what the end of power hour's for, right?
Yep, last 20 minutes, the troubleshooting 20. That's what we're calling it.
The troubleshooting 20. We always like to, whatever it is we're covering, we always like to try and break it and mess something up. Mm-hmm. I totally did it on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's just try not having it do anything. Now, the way you can sort of comment something out in a flow is by having it just setting it to something different, like if it's skipped, then do this. And just basically it won't go to this. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to run. I'm going to kill it. I cancel, so this one's mine that I posted. See, here's my raw data. There's Laura Rogers. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that one that's running. When you post a choice of options, your flow will be running and running. So that's another one of those pet peeves of mine, is to have a flow running and running. And it's going to time out after 30 days. So flows, anytime you have a flow just waiting or running or pending, it's going to time out after 30 days. So you can't plan for this to just be asking them and waiting forever for them to answer the question. So just kind of know that and plan for that. All right, so I'll resubmit it. So it should ask me again. Okay, see, now it's asking me again, I think, yeah. Yeah, see, this is the error I got before. I wish I could change it to not say comments, but to say something else. Okay, it didn't error out that time. So apparently the error is in the, when it was trying to create that help desk item. See, look, it ran fine.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's see. I can't imagine why creating an item in SharePoint would be causing an error, but I'm reading everybody's comments. Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, we totally try and break things. Okay, so it posts that. Let's just do some more options that it's going to ask them. So when we post a choice of options to the user, it's saying message summary is an extra thing that you can add, and then is alert. So that's going to be whether it will show in the activity feed. Now, when I did this one above, I did it as an alert. So I didn't do them both as an alert, but it's going to alert them, and they're going to go over to their messages and they're going to see both of them. So, and I don't even have to do these as two separate things. I just kind of wanted to show, highlight the two, like just different ways that you can communicate back with the team's actions. So then I'm going to post a choice of options as the Flowbot software, hardware, or login. And then what are some of my other options? I've got the priority. I've got, is it high priority or not? And then I've got, now some things that I know about the user too is I know everything in their user profile. I know what department they're in. I know what who their manager is. I know their phone number. And so all kinds of things that now I know about the user that I could also put in this and incorporate into whatever help desk ticket that I'm creating as well. So let's see if there's anything weird in this. I'm wondering if there's just some weird setting that's not allowing that item to be created. That is very odd. That's an odd error. Help desk ticket. I could just try that again. I'm not sure how much I want to troubleshoot that though. Let's ask them some more questions. So we want to know if it's high priority. And if it's high priority, they need to get it approved. Yes, there we go. Okay, so if it's, is it high priority? So, Teams. And I'm going to post a choice of options as the Flowbot to a user. And I'll say, yes, it's high priority, and no. Is this a high priority ticket? And okay, so this is something that we could use the comments for. All right, so it's going to ask them if it's high priority or not. And then if it's high priority, so this is a good thing that I can do with the condition. Now, if you had several different options, and this is something that I kind of covered the concept of last week, if you have several different choices, different paths you need to go down, a switch is instead of an if, because an if is just one thing or another, really. But if you have a whole bunch of different branches sort of that you need to go down, a switch is going to be a good action that you'd use instead of a condition. So if I had, if they pick this category, go down this path, this other category, go down this path, etc., I would use a switch. This is just a condition. Is it high priority or not? So, oh, you know what, Joelle? That error could have been because of that that one setting with the selected option. Because maybe it didn't like what I was trying to put in there. It didn't like the value, so it couldn't put it in the field.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
That's highly likely. So remember I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Well, that's what it was. It didn't work. So what I can do as a temporary test, so I do want this to run. And what I can do as a temporary test is in this category field, I can allow any value to be written to it. Therefore, I can see what it's putting in there, and I can see what value is coming from, is going to be coming from the flow. So first I'm going to run it with no option going to it. Then I'll put that as the option. Okay, so if it is high priority, so selected option is equal to yes. Oops. This is going to turn out to be pretty cool. If it's yes, then I need to get it approved. So then I want to get the person's manager and get it approved by their manager. Yes, okay. Actually, I'm just going to put it going to me for now instead of, because I just showed you all that whole manager thing, and yes, no, if they have a manager, it goes down one branch and all that stuff. I'm not going to build all that again for this. I'm just going to say it's just going to go to me. I'll just be the manager so I can get this done in the next 15 minutes. All right, start and wait for an approval. Approval type. First to respond, I'm just sending it to one person. And approval for high priority ticket. By, and then I put the person's name, user display name, and then I'm assigning this to, I'm just going to put me. But again, that can be dynamic. All right, this is, do you approve this as a high ticket? And then I can put whatever their message was, message body content. And I don't need to send them a link to anything because I'm just putting the content right here. And I'm just asking if they approve it. So, oh, you know what? Even better, I can send it to the manager in Teams. Delete. Watch this. I think we've done this in another Power Hour too, but I just want to, this is, since Teams is getting to be so huge, I want to really highlight the fact that you can do this. So I'm going to do this again real quick. So, high priority ticket. For display name, assigned to me, and details, do you approve? Message body. See where I'm going with this, Joelle? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I create an approval, and then I wait for an approval. Then I post a wait for an approval. But in between there, I can do a post to a user. So this is where I'd post to their manager. Post a message as the Flowbot to post an adaptive card as the Flowbot to a user. And again, this is going to be more dynamic. This is going to be the person's manager. I'm just trying to hurry and show y'all how this would work. And then what I have when I do a create an approval, I don't have this when I start and wait for an approval. I have this when I do a create an approval action, because then I can use that adaptive card that's in the approval. So I'm posting that adaptive card as my message, and it's going to be an alert to the person's manager. Then I can wait for the approval. Which approval am I waiting for? I'm waiting for the that I get that ID of that approval I created, approval ID. Okay, and that's only if it's high priority it's going to do all that. If not, it's just going to go down this other path. And either way, it's going to create the help desk item. Y'all ready? Let's see what happens. Okay. I'll just rerun. No, can I rerun it? Let's see. Now, I don't have a manager, so it's going to skip the manager part for mine. Oh, wait, I do have a manager in my test tenant. I have Garth Fort. Let's see. Can't log in. Okay, so then the flow should be moving on. Let's see. Oh, it didn't ask if it was high priority. Look at that. Let's see. 2 not found. Oh, let's see. What did I put? That was 2. Oh, I didn't put a recipient. That would help. Okay, so it needs to go to the message from user ID. And it's all left out. Let's do it again. And in the meantime, I'm going to log in as Garth Fort, my manager. Okay, it's posting my question. Log in, help me. Y'all getting the drift? Any other ideas of what you could do with this this whole... No, it's doing the same thing with unable to reach app. Oh, let's see. That's different. See, that actually worked the first time when we did it, when we didn't put anything after it. But then as soon as we put something after it, it bombs out. Huh. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try starting it completely from scratch, just so I'm not rerunning it on the same thing over and over. So let me do that one more time. Anybody? I'm not looking at the chat, but anybody coming up with any other ideas of what you could do with all these Teams things to ask questions and create things? Problem with Outlook. Given that they all work and you know how to troubleshoot Flow, right, Joelle?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, y'all are hilarious. Marie said, are you planning on writing a book on the Power Platform? Power Platform changes so fast. By the time the book would be published, the product would be all different. So no way. Nobody's writing books anymore about this stuff. I mean, did y'all hear about the new Data Flex that they just announced yesterday? CDS is now going to be called Data Flex Pro, and then Data Flex is going to be a new, like, lighter version of CDS. So I'll talk about that more in a second. Let me see. My flow. It does take a minute to trigger, doesn't it? I'll go cancel these other ones. So yeah, I guess while I'm waiting for it to trigger. So did y'all hear about that? So yeah, CDS is being renamed. And it's basically, you're going to have in Teams, you're going to be able to create Power Apps directly in Teams, and this data source it's going to use is, instead of SharePoint, it's going to be this DataFlex thing, and that will be what you're going to be creating your tables and things in, and creating your Power App in when you're creating Power Apps directly inside of Teams, and that's going to be a whole new thing that is coming out. I tweeted it out yesterday, I think, a link to that. Okay. Let me see. This one does take a while to trigger, because I just typed a new message in here and it just, what does it take, like 5 minutes just for it to...
Yeah, it took a good bit of time.
Yeah, I typed problem with Outlook. Well, let me see if I can find that tweet while we're talking about it. Because I was going to try and kind of mention that towards the end. Well, it's the end, and maybe I didn't tweet it out. I retweeted someone's blog post that they wrote about it. So let me just give you all... I have a little thing that I buffer my tweets, so it's probably just in the buffer. So I'll just copy this blog post about DataFlex to the general channel. I like the name, though. I like the name DataFlex better than CDS. The whole renaming thing gets kind of annoying, but DataFlex is a cool I think it's a more catchy name. It kind of explains it better than CDS does.
They were talking about earlier in the chat, though, that I think that name might be come under some controversy because
Oh,
it may have
really?
been, yeah, I guess it was trademarked by another company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you scroll up in the chat, I think Valerie posted a
Oh,
link
okay.
where they're kind of chatting about that a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Oh, what was it? Wasn't it OneDrive that, or SkyDrive? They
Yeah, the
got.
Sky something. I remember that. Yeah, because the Sky TV in the UK like came
Yeah.
after them. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, here's the. I had it. I had it buffering to tweet. So let me copy that link and put it in the chat too. That's the official announcement announcing DataFlex, a new low-code platform for Microsoft Teams. So, oh look, I finally got my little alert here. I'll just click submit without putting a comment. Okay. Is this so it asked me the next question. That's good. I'll just say, for now, I'll say no. It's not high priority. Oh, then it aired out. At least it asked me both questions. Oh my gosh. And whenever I'm building a flow, Joelle, I usually like to set aside like 3 or 4 hours for troubleshooting.
All the troubleshooting. Yeah.
So yeah, I just got stuck right here. And then, okay, let's go look at that. Oh, see, it doesn't give you the raw data of what your choice of options was. But even so, even if I had the condition wrong, it still would have gone down the no path, you know? So I wish it would give me the raw data of what the choices were. Now, when I'm troubleshooting and needing to see the raw data of something, sometimes it helps to use one of those compose actions. If it gives me, yeah, so there you go. It provides me, at least so I could see what the selected option, what that data says. So then I could run it again. I could test it. And fire truck. I'll say submit. That's weird. Now it's erroring out on the first one. Oh no, it went through. See, yeah, that is weird because it's like it's randomly erroring out. It's maybe you know what? It does say preview on all these actions. So we should probably take this with a grain of salt that it says preview. So potentially that's why these are so buggy, because they're preview actions and they maybe don't work correctly. You notice I just clicked the button again. I had just clicked it. I just clicked it twice and then it worked the second time. So that tells me that maybe I wasn't necessarily doing something wrong, that it's just a buggy action. All right, so that one went through. Look at that. So it created my help desk item because it was not high priority. So I'm going to do, I know I've got 2 minutes left. I'm going to do one more because by the time this triggers, then it'll be almost time to go. So I'm going to do one more, and this one I'll do as high priority, okay? So, blue screen of death. Okay, so that's my ticket. Let's wait till that gets published. Now let's go look at the one that just ran that was not high priority. So that created my help desk item. So we'll go look at my help desk tickets and look at that. So it didn't put the date in here that I had set for it to put up. And it also didn't put the category because remember that I had taken that out completely because I wanted to test it and run through the test at least once without the category to just make sure that it was creating the item. That's how I like to troubleshoot, is by narrowing it down and then, taking things away and then adding them back slowly. That's troubleshooting steps. That is what I should call this power hour, Joelle. Troubleshooting stuff in Office 365. That's what we're always doing, isn't it? Okay, so that created it. So that's good. Now, what I want it to do is I'll go edit it, and I'll go actually put the option back in there. And then I'll just rerun that same one. So my category value is going to be whatever they put as their that last response to what the category is. So this one up here, I'll type category in it, there. So these are different. So one's asking the category, one's asking the priority. So then I'll put category value is going to be, I got to put the right one. Selected option there. Okay, and then I'll let it save it and retest it. That was my succeeded test. Okay, and then this other one, it has gone ahead and asked me what kind of category it is. I'll say, who knows, that could be hardware. And then I'm just going to click it again because maybe that's just what it does since it's buggy and it's a preview. Oh, it's promising. It's spinning. It's a spinning wheel. I've got my cooking show going on. I've got like one flow going over here doing one thing, and then I've got another flow kind of doing something slightly different. Hopefully everybody's following. I'm barely following. So I don't know. Yeah, this is, oh, see, that time it went through. So that's sketchy. All right. Is it a high priority? This time, again, I'm going to say no on this one, because this one's the one that I just changed the selected option for it to actually create the SharePoint item and do an option. And then, oh, Valerie's got to go to a meeting. Yep, everybody's got to go now. Then I was asking about the blue screen of death. And then I was asking about the problem with Outlook. So let me see. I guess I can't ask for too many things at the same time, huh? All right, let's just go look at what went correctly, if it created it. Okay, so look at that. The category did, so the category itself, remember when I took away the category because when I was troubleshooting, I thought maybe that was the problem in creating the SharePoint list item, but it turns out that creating the SharePoint list item wasn't the problem, and anything I was doing in the flow wasn't the problem. It was just that action itself was buggy, and I had to click the button multiple times, and then it would just run. So unfortunately, those are, again, in preview. So that did correctly create my category. That's good. So it created my item. And then, so what you could do was, I also have a priority field in the help desk ticket, so I could take the whether they picked high priority or not, and I could put that in here when it creates the ticket. And I did want to do one where it goes and asks for approval with the manager, so I'm going to just rerun one of these real quick so I can see that functioning. And thanks for sticking around. If you're sticking around, I'll go edit it and test it. And this time I'm going to say that it is high priority so that it gives my sends my manager an approval. Hardware, and go. High priority, yes. Okay, now my manager is Garth Fort. Oh, remember I didn't put Garth Fort in there. I sent it to me so I wouldn't have to log in as Garth Fort. So look at that. So remember when I said to send it as an adaptive card, to send the approval as an adaptive card to who would be the manager? Now I got the approval. So in the real world, you wouldn't be approving your own thing, right? But now I'll go ahead and click approve. And again, you can add comments and submit. So that is the adaptive card. That's where I said to create an approval. Then I said to post as the Flowbot, post an adaptive card to a user. That's the adaptive card of the approval. And then I approved it, and then that workflow finished and went through, and then it would have created another, and then it created another item in here. So cool. Yay, I consider that a successful Power Hour. What do you think?
Yeah, it was cool.
So yeah, it was a little touch and go there with the buggy Teams actions, but it turns out I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just a buggy action that I had to click twice. All right. So yeah, as I was mentioning, there's been a big announcement of Microsoft DataFlex. It used to be CDS. So CDS is going to be DataFlex Pro, and then this new lighter free, I'd say free in quotes, version is going to be called DataFlex. It's going to be built into Teams, where you can build Power Apps in Teams. And we're going to go ahead and incorporate that in our week-long Power Apps and Power Automate training coming up in August 17th through 21st at iwmentor.com. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I know I went 5 minutes over. That was kind of a fun one. Thanks, Joelle, for helping out with figuring out that idea for the help desk tickets, and everybody for chiming in. And y'all have an awesome afternoon.
Have a good one, everybody.
Happy Wednesday. Bye, everybody.